Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Dwarf Fortress with Teemo. I know it's been a little bit of a break and a nice Christmas vacation. Hopefully all of you did as well. I got requested on the Steam forums to do a little tutorial about using mist effectively, how to do it easily. So this is a very basic mist use tutorial. There's some very advanced ways you can use mist. I'm just going over basic setups here. I've built a little starter fortress here just to give my dwarves some areas for them to make use of the mist. I'm not really making great efficient use of the mist. I'm just showing how to do it in this, but I am showing one of the reasons why you would. Mostly I just need some workers to be able to work, and that's why I'm doing it. So first of all, mist around a dining hall is a good thing to do. So I've built a dining hall here. I've got a couple what are going to be waterfalls on either side, the north and south side. What I have is the water is going to flow past the dining hall on both sides here. It's going to hit this, and it's going to run all the way down off of this and back into the river here. I've got the levels of the water turned on, so when you see all the 7s, this is actually the water is on this level and it's 7 deep. When I go up one higher and I don't see the numbers, that means it's at the top of the water. So the water won't actually flow from here because it's actually down a level. I have some bridges I built. I also prepped a lot of this digging. So all this I dug before I started the video because I didn't want to waste time with the digging it out. That's rather basic to dig it out and build everything. And what I've done with this is I've brought it all the way up to where I want to start with the water. So this actually had an aquifer level. I've got another aquifer tutorial if you want to deal with penetrating those, but I basically dug through it real quick and then tossed some walls back up. But you can see those waterfall holes continue to go up and up, and this is actually the level where the water is going to flow. So it's right next to the river here. I'm going to open up these things right here, these little walls I've kind of dug out, and you can see here that as I open up this wall, water is just going to flow into this and go down into the hole. I'm also going to open up this to here and open this one up, so I'm going to connect these little pools here, and then I'm going to flow it over this pool and then back around, so that water is going to be going both sides. Before I do that, there's an important safety thing that I want to show you, is that right now this is kind of dangerous for dwarves. They did get too close, they could fall in it and get washed away. So the thing that you're going to want to do before just leaving it open is on the level where the dwarves actually are. You're going to want to construct yourself some floor grates. So there we go, floor grates. Use closest is fine. So I'm going to put up 3 floor grates here, 3 floor grates here, and now the dwarves won't get washed away if they get too close. This is kind of like enclosed now. The other thing I've left open is they asked to show how I would use just a waterfall as it is. So you can see here there's a river flowing in from here, and it goes over the cliff and it descends multiple Z levels. I decided down near the bottom, I've got this little path. I could make use of it and have something over here on this side. I could actually have put this dining hall on the other side, but I wanted to show how to build the path, so I didn't build anything ahead of time. So I'm also going to start that up. So what I like to do is just do a floor, since it's not going to be raised or lowered or anything like that. If it is going to be raised or lower, you're going to want to use a bridge or something like that. So the waterfall itself is this last, you see how there's numbers right here? 1, 2, 3, 2, 4. That's basically showing where the water is falling down, and then out from that is where the mist is. So in the mist is where I'm going to put my bridge. So I'm going to put a bridge here. I'm going to use some oak. I'll make an oak bridge, and I'm going to make it, the wider you make it, the safer it's going to be. So I'm going to go ahead and make it 3 wide here, oak logs, like that. The minimum you're going to want to make it is 2 wide. And I'll show you why once this is built and I start doing some designations. But you need it at least 2 wide. I recommend 3 wide. It's just easier for pathing. So we're going to start with that, and I'm going to unpause this to let it start going. And what I can also start doing is start prepping some of this up at the top. I don't want it to flow yet, but I can go ahead and dig some of this channeling out. That does not matter. Yep. And oop. There we go. So water's starting to flow. And I'm kind of digging this out a little bit careful just to make sure my dwarves don't get caught in anything weird. Alright, so that one is about ready to go. This one's ready to go. Until it gets kind of filled up, you're going to see this get a little bit less here because it's kind of flowing 2 directions. Once this all gets up to 7s, then I'm going to start with the letting more go. Also, let's go down here. Did this get canceled or suspended? Nope, we got one more to go. Alright, so once you get the bridge going, and I'm using just an open area like this for the waterfall, what you're going to want to do is build grates into the side, just like this, where the water is. And you want to do that because the dwarves, as they go near the mist, they could dodge. The dwarves sometimes like dodge water droplets. It's really weird. Or they bump into each other and they dodge out of the way of each other. For whatever reason, they sometimes like to hop around. Sometimes they hop off stuff. And they'll hop onto this side. So you're going to want to build the same floor grates all along. Oop, it's not. Who's closest? All on this side too. Now the thing that gets kind of complicated here is that sometimes as they build it, the amount of water there, they'll... so if you see a dwarf come up and then like fail to build it, it's probably that there was too much water, and you'll just have to keep resuming the construction until they kind of like time it right to actually build the grates. Now you could find a way to like go and stop the water or redirect it for a little bit. I don't bother because this doesn't take that long. You just keep hitting resume every now and then. Every time you see a dwarf run up, you just hit resume. And they'll eventually catch it when there's not too much water. So it's not that big a deal. As you can see, it hasn't taken me very long. That last one's being a pain in the butt, though. Oh, come on. All right. So, I guess since these guys are being a pain, I will start talking about designations. So, what you're going to want to do is use down here, there's this double arrow pointing to the right, and that's traffic designations. And that tells dwarves where to walk and where not to walk. The entire map starts off as just being a normal designation. And what that means is essentially, I think it's like a 1 for, like a 2 for movement or something like that. And dwarves will basically count every square as being like too long to try to make a path. So if you set the high the actual high traffic, instead of a 2, it'll be a 1 or something like that. So they'll definitely want to use this path more than any other path. I'll set it back to normal. If you use the low, then it just becomes a little bit less of a path that they want. And if you use the high, or the what's it called, the restricted, it'll use something like a 25 for a value. So dwarves will pretty much never want to use that path to get there. There we go. Finally got the last grade. So what you're going to want to do is set restricted on the floor grates themselves, because you don't want them pathing under, they don't like being drenched in water, and then restricted on the far outside. So now they're going to want to walk in the middle. And if you want, you can even set high traffic, but just setting the low is fine. So you do the two sides. If you were going to just do it too wide, you're going to want to put the restricted still on the other side, so there's just the one path. And what that means is the dwarves will just walk right here, and if they do happen to dodge, they'll just dodge one square to the left or right, and then they'll hop back on the path to get back on it. If you set, if you do a 3 wide, then it gives a 2 path, and that means dwarves can kind of pass each other, and it just makes it easier for them to walk. So you're also going to want to do the same thing in your room here, is just designate, don't go get on the grates, because you don't want them being under the water. They'll be unhappy if they get doused with water, but it's okay to be near it. And in fact, what you could do is come to your designations and do like high traffic area, and you can, you know, set this, and dwarves might actually, as they enter the room, come and walk over near this as they're trying to find a seat, because this will be a quick path. So they'll think that the path to their seats is actually quicker going through there. Because dwarves are silly like that. If they're trying to get to this chair, it's actually quicker for them to come up by the mist and then over to this chair. If you really wanted to be slick about it, you could take out this row here of chairs and put restricted through here. So it doesn't actually close it off, but it will. The dwarves will think it's really bad flow, and then they'll all walk right by the mist before they go find a chair. And I can actually, now I'll just leave it as it is for now. Okay, so we have, you know, the open one going. You can see the little visuals here. So that's mist coming off, and dwarves go through that. They love the mist. If I were to instead rework my fortress now and have this be the entrance to getting outside the fortress, then every time my dwarves come in and out of the fortress, they'd be going right by the mist. And I could do that. I could dig this up to the surface, and I could go back to the other side of my fortress over here, and just put a wall across here, and now my entire fortress goes right through this waterfall mist generator that I've created, and makes all my dwarves happy when they come in and out. All right, but now to make my dwarves happy while they're eating food, I'm going to come back up to the top here. You can see those grates really far below, and I'm going to start opening these up. All right, so channel, we'll do the middle. There's actually a tree there, so I guess it'll just be too wide. That's fine. And then a channel on this side. Again, I can do 2 wide, I guess. And we'll do 3. Alright. And those are all dug out. Alright. So going down below, you see water is now flowing in here. It's still flowing down over here, and you're seeing waterfall. But now you're also seeing water falling down through here. You see mist is being generated out to these seats here. Mist should be generated on that side too, and it's flowing in. And now any dwarves that are seated near these will be happier. And I also wanted to show, here's a row that's pretty close, and here's a row that's farther away. You can see the mist is washing over them quite a lot. And actually, where'd that guy go? Where'd you go? So if I went to him, he was relieved being near to a waterfall. He was blissful dining in a legendary dining room. So it's a legendary dining room with just a few tables and chairs and these 2 waterfalls, and it's already at legendary status. I haven't smoothed it at all. I haven't engraved it. Just dwarves love waterfalls. And you can see down below, the water's falling through to this channel I made. It's flowing down, and it's just emptying back out into the river. Now, you're going to want a way for water to come back out regardless. If you're trying to put this down into the bowels of the earth, what you're going to want to do is kind of dig this out and have it dispense into the caverns or dispense into the magma sea or something like that. But you're going to want to have an outlet for the water. Some people have kind of exploitive ways or dwarfy ways of having it drain off the edge of the map. I usually don't try to do that. I try to come up with a way to do it on the map. And so the way to do it on the map is either drain it back into a river or drain it down into the magma sea or a cavern. So that's that's kind of what you want to do there. For emptying it, this was just, I happened to have a waterfall map with a big Z change, so I was able to put my dining hall in between the top level of where the river was and the bottom level of where the surface of the river below was. So by doing it that way, I easily was able to pass the waterfall through my dining hall and then still have a nice exit for the water back out here. I think that's all about the mist. So that's how you build something safe for them to walk by an open waterfall, and that's how you get some waterfalls that are safe inside. You can see that, you know, sometimes a little bit of water splashes out here. That's not an issue. It's just gonna, sometimes that can happen if it gets a little too full. You could avoid that by actually having 2 layers down. So if I had put this dining hall on this level instead of this level right here, it would be 2 levels above where it's emptying out, and you would almost never get water there. This will go away on its own. Might leave a little bit of mud, and again, you can avoid that completely by just having an extra Z level in between where your outflow is and where the dining hall is. Hopefully that helps out. Thanks for coming. Have a good night.